it's about time. Arkansas legend Darren McFadden finally getting the recognition he deserves, as he'll be the first Razorback to have his jersey honored this upcoming season. A jersey patch will be worn on the front of the number 5 jersey, which is worn by defensive lineman Cam Ball and wide receiver Ja'Caden Ferguson as well. Welcome in to this week's PTN Extra. Courtney Mims alongside Evan Camico and Mike Irwin here. And guys, that's what we're going to talk about on the show to start off with is the whole debate right now on the internet. There are some people very, very mad over this jersey honoring because they believe it should be a jersey retirement. And Arkansas only has 2 other players who have had their jersey retired here. And like you pointed out, Evan, Darren's jersey will be put up with theirs and look like it is a jersey retirement, but it won't be. So how do you guys feel about this? Do you like that they honored his jersey with a patch, or do you feel like it should have been retired? Evan, do you want to go first?
I'll happily start this. I believe it should have been retired. At the end of the day, when you put up a jersey in the rafters, it means more than just like they had a good year or two, right? It's about legacy and about honoring that. And I think, again, it's great what they're doing of giving a patch, but you got to retire it and really have this ceremony, because at the end of the day, if a jersey's up in the rafters and you can still wear it, then what really is the point of putting the jersey in the rafters in the first place? If you're going to honor it, again, you want to honor it in a way that will recognize the player and their legacy, and there's nothing better and no better honor in sports, in my opinion, than putting jerseys up in the rafters. So I do believe it should be in the rafters where it's going, but no other player should wear number 5, right? Like, you want to remember number 5 because that is Darren McFadden. No one will ever live up to it. And as great as Cam Ball has been for Arkansas, not only on the field, but also representing the Razorbacks off the field, he'll never live up to what Darren McFadden did here at the University of Arkansas. So I believe that it should be retired and no one else should wear it. Maybe I'm on the opposite end where people are more leaning towards having other players wear it, but I think it should be retired and no one else should wear 5.
Mike, one of the big counterpoints to that, because I do see both sides of it, right? I do see, hey, you really want to honor the legacy of an athlete and put him up there with those other jersey retirements, but I also see where it can kind of hamper some recruiting, because there are players that will say, wait, I can't wear number 5? Well, that's been my number. I want to wear number 5. There's some value to wearing that number. So Mike, how do you feel about it?
I think it's a good idea. And here's another issue. You can start retiring so many numbers that you don't have any numbers. I mean, look, in football, we already have guys wearing the same number that are on defense and offense.
Yeah.
Because they don't have, you got 80-something guys out there on the roster.
Now with the increased scholarships,
how many numbers can you have? And so you start retiring them, and then you got a problem. And especially a number like 5, there's all kinds of people that want to be 5. So I think this is a good solution. Arkansas should just do what the Cowboys do. Instead of retiring jerseys, just have a ring of honor and have a thing around. They've got those video things around the edge anyway, and just make that into a ring of honor.
Yeah,
and pop them up periodically.
I don't hate that either. I also like what the University of Michigan had done a few years back, or however long ago it was, where they did their legends, right? And they said no jersey number will be retired anymore, and we'll allow you to choose those numbers, but we will have patches on every jersey, and it will be remembered. You'll have some significance to wearing that jersey. They no longer do that apparently, but I thought that was really cool that they did that.
I want to cut in quickly and say, if a kid wants to come to the university only because of the number that's available, that is petty and that is against everything that the university should look. No offense, like even if you're a top level recruit, like you have to earn your way onto the field. Just because you're a 5-star athlete, like doesn't mean you should come in and get a number if a veteran senior wears that number. I disagree with that. Like, that is petty by any kids today in today's society. Like, come to a school and earn the number. If you come here and you want 5 and 5 is not retired, and a veteran has 5, like, it's the same thing kind of in baseball or in pro sports. When a guy gets traded, they usually have to pay for the number. Like, I don't think the kid should pay for the number, but if you won't come to a school because the number's not available, are you kidding me?
I'm just saying.
I think that's an awful excuse.
I'm bringing it up
for the fans to bring it up.
Whoa! Hold on. I'm gonna stick up for the fans here because I feel like me and Mike are on the same page. I also feel like there could be a significance for that kid. So, and I'll give you an example.
Fair.
I'll give you an example. I used to cover high school sports in Florida when I was a sports director over in Panama City Beach, and a kid used the number 20 or 32 because it was Michael Jordan's number backwards, right? And his initials were at backwards. So that's why he did that, right? It was a really big, meaningful thing for him. And so I think that there's stuff like that. Or I met another player that said, I only wear the number 10 because it was my dad's favorite number. And my dad passed away or whatever. And so I feel like there could be a significant reason for it. For that player, and number 5 is one of the most popular numbers.
But
guys.
like, we're gonna sit here and argue that a kid's not gonna come to a school because he can't get the number. That seems a little far.
I'm just saying it may be something that you might think of. It's
No,
weird things that these recruits think of when they choose a university. You want to have the most opportunities and things available to those recruits so that they don't go, okay, well, these two schools are the same. LSU is recruiting me heavily and Arkansas is recruiting me heavily, but LSU is a little better because they have the number that's available. Can you imagine that? It's LSU is a little better because of the number they have available.
But the number shouldn't matter is my whole point.
See, okay.
Like that is where I come from. And look, when I played baseball, like I wanted to wear number 5. I was actually number 5 because they didn't have 4. I was number 5 in baseball, but because they didn't have 4, so I picked the next closest number, which was 5, and I didn't want to wear 3 because I wanted to go up and not down. Not important. But I don't think that like you should use that as a sticking point. What are you shaking your head for?
Mike, you've been shaking your head.
You just don't know much about recruits. You're going to lose a guy because of that.
That's what I'm saying.
You can call him, you can say what you want about him, but if you lose a guy because he couldn't get the number he wanted.
That was my example of these two schools. I'm deciding between these two schools, but LSU can give me the number I want. I mean, that is seriously.
What if he's like a 5-star can't miss guy and you lose him because you won't give him your number?
That's petty on the kid.
No,
that's petty on the kid.
No, I
pay
don't.
him more NIL money.
Pay him more NIL money. There you go. Evan's solution right there. You guys are cracking me up with this argument today. I do say, just to give a little bow on this conversation here, I do think it is nice that they are doing something for Darren McFadden because I feel like Mike, I feel like this has been a long time coming, right?
He's the only Razorback ever to be on the Heisman stage. I don't know if any have ever been nominated before, but there was never anybody up there in that final group that he's on TV. And he should have won the second time. Maybe the first time, maybe Tebow, the kind of year he had, okay, but man, he should have won one of those 2 years.
Absolutely, he definitely should have. And so I think this is great that they are doing something to honor him. We will see in the future. I don't believe that they'll retire his jersey by doing this instead, and I do think it's an opportunity for players to honor his legacy. And Darren seemed pretty pumped about it.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. Okay. He seemed pretty pumped about it. Okay, guys. We're going to talk a little bit about fall camp. It starts this Friday morning for the Razorbacks, bright and early. We're going to be up at 6 a.m. out there with them. So we'll be out there. And I want to get your thoughts, guys, because tomorrow we get a chance to talk to Sam Pittman and I believe Ben Souders as well, their strength and conditioning coach. So we're going to get a chance to speak with them. But I want to get your thoughts on fall camp and what you're thinking and what you're kind of hoping to see from this team. Come this Friday. That's coming up right after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to another edition of PTN Extra. I'm Courtney Mims. He's Evan Chemico, and he is Mike Irwin. And guys, fall camp begins Friday for the Razorbacks. And so before we get into kind of what we want to see from this team and some question marks that we still have going into fall camp, I kind of want to get your thoughts on just how great it is to be able to see this team in a fall camp setting, because there are so many programs around the country, Mike, that don't have the media doesn't have the opportunity to even see fall camp.
Yeah, I was talking to Jason Carroll, who used to work here, and he's covering Oklahoma State now, and I was talking about they're having that first practice at 6:15, 6:30, whatever, and he said, hey, we got canned video supplied by the school. We're going to get to go to media day. They're going to have one media day, and that's it for interviews, video, or whatever. So we're still pretty lucky here because we get to go to a lot of the workouts, at least film the first 15 or 20 minutes, get interviews after every one, and they don't have that access around the SEC. Arkansas is pretty much the difference there. They stand out in terms of what you're allowed to do and what you aren't allowed to do.
Yeah, and another bonus is also, like you mentioned, getting to talk to the assistant coaches and coordinators. That's always my favorite part of fall camp for the Razorbacks. It's one thing to get to see the team. It's another thing to get to talk to those.
It's the only time we can do that.
Yeah, it's the only time we can do that.
Except in the spring. We'll get Petrino.
We do.
Got him in the spring, going to get him in the fall one time.
One time we're going to get Petrino and Travis Williams as well, and all of the other different assistant coaches too. So it's a chance to get to talk to them. Okay, let's go into what you guys are looking at in this fall camp, because there are so many questions for this Razorback squad, and we've talked about that a lot on this show. I feel like you guys have talked about it extensively on PTN Extra. There's a lot of question marks. Is there a question mark overall for you going into fall camp? If you had to pick one that you're kind of honing in on and saying, this is the biggest of them all, Evan, what would you say it is?
I mean, I could go basic and sit here and give you a spiel about Taylon Green for 10 minutes and say how he needs to hit the intermediate routes, he's got to be better, yada, yada, yada. I'll refuse to do that because I think that's cheating and that's cheap, because I think that's the biggest thing nationally. But when you really look here, it's defensive line to me. I think last year they really struggled getting pressure, 26 sacks on the season. They weren't great, even though they had Landon Jackson, who ended up going in the third round. But when you lose Landon and you lose Anton Junkosh, what's it going to look like on the defensive line? Quincy Rhodes, maybe Kiwi Love, Cam Ball is back, but he really struggled as well to get pressure. So it's how are they going to be able to pressure some of these quarterbacks? You've got guys on the schedule. Garrett Nussmeier can run. I think Brian Kelly was saying like a 4.5 earlier today, which I don't know if I believe, but that's crazy. You also have Marcel Reed on the schedule. To just name two of the quarterbacks right there. Quinn Ewers, he's gone. Arch Manning, even worse.
Yeah.
So I really think it's going to be a question of what's the defensive line going to look like. Can you get pressure up the middle from Cam Ball? I'd like to see Ian Gerard. I think he's got a lot of big question marks. They've got some guys up there that I'm interested to see. And pressure, they lacked that last year. Can they find it this year? And I think that is really my big question, because linebackers are going to be really good. Maybe they blitz Xavier Story a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe they blitz Bradley Shaw a little bit more. Who knows? Secondary, again, questions there. But I really think the front seven, specifically the front four, are the biggest question mark for the entire season.
I think that's a good one. And like you said, seeing those guys that you just mentioned and the jump they may have taken from spring to now fall, I'm gonna just mention it really quickly. The secondary too, because I had a lot of questions about the secondary, obviously going into the off season, and then even in spring. Now in fall, I'm hoping to get some of those questions answered, because there's a lot of guys in the secondary that they added on in that spring portal window that we haven't even gotten to see yet. So I'm excited to see some of those guys like Julian Neal coming over from Fresno State. He's one of those guys. Oklahoma's Kenai Walker, right? He's another guy I'd like to see. And so those guys in that spring window that they added, I think that'll be very interesting as well. Mike, what do you think? What are you
First
looking
of all,
for?
you guys are not taking into consideration what you're actually able to see and not able to see.
Yeah,
All
true,
that
true,
stuff
true.
you talked about, you won't know.
Yeah.
Because you will not see defensive linemen tackling people to the ground, being blocked in practice in August. Not the part we see.
Yeah.
So here, I'm more practical. It's what you're able to see. You will be able to see wide receivers. You will be able to see Taylon Green, and you will be able to see defensive backs in 7-on-7, 5-on-5, whatever they do. So you can get a little bit of an idea about that, but you people want to know, what do you think about the team? And it is good to be able to go in there, but there's so much you don't see. You just don't. If you want to see a guy tackle, you want to see whether a defensive end can pass rush, now you might see something where he quickly goes in there and he has to stop. I don't know. Might see a little bit of that, but usually any kind of blocking, tackling. See, my big question was the offensive line. That's what they had to rebuild, and they largely did. And Sam Pittman has said the difference is we had a lot of transfers last year, but they were inexperienced transfers and they were at lower level schools. We brought in guys from Power 4 schools that played elsewhere and had good reputations. And so they're in much better shape at left tackle, much better shape at left guard, much better shape at center. I think still on the right side, maybe some questions. So if I could see some of that stuff, I'd be looking for it, but I'm not looking for it when we go over there, because you're going to see them firing out and running and
Yeah.
pushing people and things.
Yeah.
You're not going to see whether or not some guy can really block.
You're not, and that's really when your questions really get answered right at that first game of the season, or against other competition. Really, those first 3 games.
Really,
of the
Ole
year.
Miss is when we'll really
that's
be
what
able to tell.
I was going to say
Arkansas State, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
What will be limited to, you have to believe the coaches. Either they're telling you the truth or they're not, but they will talk about it. They will say, boy, our offensive line really had a good day today. We did this, we did that. We had a little brief scrimmage period, and we had a 30-yard touchdown run, another 10. Taylor Green was protected. One time I counted 5 seconds. He had to get the ball off. They may tell you that, and I don't think they would lie to us, but they don't. You just didn't see the whole thing. You didn't see any of it, as a matter of fact. So you rely on what they tell you.
Yeah, and hopefully they're telling the truth, right? That's always the hope.
I don't think they would lie, but I think sometimes they leave stuff out.
I was going to say, not extend the truth.
Yeah,
but
sometimes you're just putting it in a nice light, right?
If someone has a bad day, they're not going to say they're going to have a bad day.
Exactly. You brought up, Mike, you said something you're excited to see, the offensive line. Is there a new guy that you're excited to see? Because I would say one of the biggest talked about guys this entire offseason is Shaq McCroy because of the tank that he is. My goodness, he is huge.
If he can win that job over on the right side as right tackle, that would be huge. I still think left tackle is where it starts and ends. That's where Taylor Green got sacked a lot last year. You got to have a left tackle, and then you move Cremona from left tackle because he really wasn't a tackle. He was more of a guard. And then the center. So that left side from tackle, guard to center, that's important. And those guys, it looks like right now, everybody says in the spring, that's what looked better.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a guy that you guys are excited to see, a new face? This fall camp that you're excited to see out there that maybe Mike, you're smiling because I already know your answer. I know you're going to say, are you going to, you want it, Mike, you want to give your answer?
Antonio Jordan?
Yep, Antonio Jordan. I was going to say that.
The wide receiver from Warren, who is actually bigger and weighs more and is faster than Arkansas's tight ends. He could be a tight end, but he's apparently good enough they're going to make a receiver out of him. I just got to believe he'll play. Now, Petrino apparently was, the other day when he was on the radio, he was a little more reserved about that than Pittman was at media days. Pittman pretty much just said, hey, in effect, he's going to play. And I think he will. Petrino's got to coach him, as the offensive coordinator. So maybe he's being a little more reserved. But yeah, I want to see that guy.
Oh yeah.
And then I want to see this big bushy-haired guy with the hair.
Oh.
The Samoan with the hair.
You love his hair. You love his hair. I love that, Mike. I knew that was going to be your answer. We've been talking about this kid for a while on the show. If you don't know why Mike is so excited to see this guy, it's because there was a limited video on him. Just, he didn't go to many camps.
We have no video of it.
Limited is nice.
The only way you would know anything about him is if you went to Warren and watched his practices.
Yep. Okay. Well, I was trying to be nice, limited video, but yeah, there's not a lot of video on him out there. And he didn't go to any of those Rivals camps or 24/7 Sports or whatever it is because he said, I know where I'm going. I'm going to Arkansas. So
that's the part you really like.
It is.
Because I don't think some people are saying, well, if he has a great year, if he's this talent, and he's a 3-star largely because he didn't do any of those things. So what if he's really a 5-star? And what if he has a great year? Then you start thinking, Ole Miss is they're going to go offer him $1 million or something. And I just don't think that'll work with him based on what we know about him.
I hope
He
not.
just likes to go fishing. I don't think he's in there thinking about how much money can I get.
No, I think he's genuinely one of those guys who knows where he wants to go. Kind of the old school way of recruiting, of going, it's the school, my state.
He wants to play football.
He wants to play football, and he wants to play for the Razorbacks. I love that. I love that about this kid, and so I'm excited to see him too. Evan, I'm going to ask you, new face, do you want to see?
Yeah, I was going to stick on the wide receiver core as well because there's a lot of new faces that are going to have to come in and make an impact. Again, Isaac TeSlaa goes in the 3rd round. Andrew Armstrong signs with Miami. So you're really missing a gap, and Ismail Cisse now not even going to be playing this year. So my name is going to be Omega Blake. I'm really interested to see him. He's got a really good size. I think his hands are really good, coming over from a good school. So I like Blake in this. I think that he's the guy that could emerge quickly as a wide receiver #1, but also It's not a new face, but I'd like to see what C.J. Brown does this year on the wide receiver core as well. We really didn't see a ton of him last year, and they tried to feature him in the Texas game, and that didn't work too well. So I'd like to see another year down. He changes number to 3. Maybe that can mean something to continue our number conversation. But I do think O'Mega Blake is my new face that I'm really interested to watch and see what chemistry he builds, because he reminds me a little of Andrew Armstrong from what we've been able to see.
Okay. He had a good spring, too. So it'll be interesting to see how he builds on that in the fall. My answer is still Shaq McCoy. Man, that guy's, well, I'm excited to see because he actually slimmed down from spring. And so I'm wondering how much that has affected him. And, we haven't seen him since spring.
They still have him listed, 380 or something like that?
No, they had him at 3. They had him at like 366, I think, and now he's down to like 3 something.
Still being like 3
something.
to 3 is
I must have
slimming
looked
by
at a
like
dated website.
What? Yeah, you might be looking at a dated website. What do you mean 380?
That's what I thought it was.
He might have been at 380, but then it was 366, and then, or maybe that's what he slimmed down to now, but I felt like he would slim down more than that. So I'm excited to see how that works for him, especially with his teammates. Corey Robinson said, dude, yes, we know he's a tank, he's big, but it's also having that size and being able to maneuver and use it and having mobility as an offensive lineman. And so he said, look, he's able to move with all that weight too, and that is huge.
Maybe develop into like a Penei Sewell, who is on the Lions right now, one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. That would be, I mean, that's pushing it, but that is like dream scenario for this guy.
Listen, I would love to see him develop really quickly and do really, really well this season for them. Again, he was taking second-team reps, and then he was taking first-team reps with Marion Harris. So, again, that would be interesting to see him and what he is able to do this fall. Guys, we will be there Friday morning, 6 a.m. I keep forgetting what time it is.
Bright and early.
Bright and early. We will have all of the coverage of fall camp over on our website and on our social media channels. So make sure you follow along with the Pig Trail Nation as we bring you all the coverage. This starting this Friday, going into next week, the week after that, and until that first game on August 30th at Razorback Stadium against Alabama A&M. That's going to do it for this week's PTN Extra. For Mike Irwin, Evan Kamiko, I'm Courtney Mims, and we'll see you next Wednesday.